What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. In today's video, I'm gonna be starting this off in the middle of nowhere. Why? Because I wanna show you why my car sounds like a piece of junk. It sounds like a lawnmower right now. So it has a massive exhaust leak at the flex pipe. I'm gonna be replacing the flex pipe and the full exhaust system today with an RV6 and Magnaflow setup. But I wanna show you how terrible this sounds, so you guys are gonna be able to see how much of a difference there is with this leaking setup versus an actual good setup. So just to let you guys know for now, I have a catless downpipe and a test pipe found up front, and then following that, I have the stock cat back. So I'm gonna be replacing all of that. Hopefully we're gonna be able to get more power from this too. And the best part is that I can actually put the stage 2 tune on the car. So that's enough talking. Open your ears. Let's see what this thing sounds like. Okay, so it sounds, not horrible, but not the greatest. So I'm gonna bring the car home, jack it up in the air, and then get started with this install. Okay guys, so we're back home. I have the car jacked up in the air. I have the strut brace up top removed from the car, only so that I had more room to get access to the downpipe from the top. Now, I went ahead and disconnected the pigtails leading to the primary and secondary O2 sensors. The sensors themselves are still installed on the downpipe. I'm gonna take the entire thing out in one shot. Next up top, there's gonna be 4 bolts and studs that are securing the downpipe up to the cylinder head, and then after that, everything else is done from underneath the car. Now, my car does have a skid plate, so I need to remove that first before I can disconnect the downpipe and drop it down. But after that, everything else is gonna be done from underneath the car. So I'm gonna have to disconnect the downpipe that's found up front. I'm gonna have to remove all of the little rubber harnesses that are securing the exhaust up to the car. And then after that, the whole thing will drop, take the whole thing out, and put the entire new thing in the car. Seems pretty straightforward, but hopefully everything goes to plan. Let's get going. So I have the skid plate removed from the car. Now next up, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disconnect the downpipe from the catback. So the reason why I'm doing that is so that I can remove it in more pieces, let's say, so that removing it is going to be easier. Instead of removing a big bulky piece that's not only straight but then angles up, it's just going to be the straight part whenever I remove the exhaust system. So that's my plan of attack right now. Now I'll bring you guys under the car with me, and it's not too bad, but it definitely has seen better days. So there's the exhaust system, and I'm gonna tackle that right now. So taking a look at this thing, it's quite safe to say that this thing has seen better days. So this flex pipe here is shot. Everything else for that matter seems fine. Like the material that they used for each one of these pipes, whether it be for the downpipe or for the test pipe, it seems to be in a lot better condition than the OEM exhaust system components. So this here is, I know for a fact, made out of stainless, and it looks like it's held up, pretty well. Same thing with the flange right here for the head. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to remove both the primary and the secondary O2 sensors, transfer these over to the new downpipe, and then we can go ahead and install that on the car. But I'm not gonna do that yet. I'm first gonna disconnect the rest of the exhaust system. So underneath the car, there's nothing else that's connected to the vehicle, like electronically. The only thing that's there are the exhaust hangers. So I'm gonna be using some WD-40 along with these exhaust hanger pliers to remove them. This combination here makes life so easy. You can literally spray a little bit of this WD-40 into each one of the hangers and then pop it right off, push it right out. You might not even need this if you have WD-40, but this is a nice tool to have. If you ever need to remove or disconnect an exhaust system, these are a lifesaver. But there should be 4 little hangers, take them out, and that's it. Okay, so what you guys did see was me grind off the 3 bolts. that we're connecting the test pipe up to the catback. So I don't have a new test pipe. There's nothing wrong with mine. So I'm reusing my old one, connecting it in between my downpipe and catback, and then throwing it all on the car. Now you guys saw those bolts? Those bolts are not even, I want to say, 3 years old. That just goes to show how bad Canada is here. And if you're dailying your car and you're driving it through snow and salt, that is terrible, and that's what it does to your car. Now imagine everything else that's on the underside of your car. Now I know exhaust stuff does rust out faster than anything else on the car. However, if you guys can, this just goes to show that you definitely should be washing your car all the time. Winter, summer, whenever you can, wash the hell out of it so that that doesn't happen. Anyways, let's get back to the exhaust work. So before reassembling everything and putting it back in the car, I wanted to show you what I have and what I removed. So if you can see on the left, this is the brand new RV6 downpipe. We've got brand new gaskets going in. This is the old one that we removed. So take a look at the leak that we have over here. Not exactly looking too pretty. But I have to say, for 5 years and being on the car and being my daily driver, I've put over 150,000 kilometers on the setup. I gotta say, it still is pretty good considering. If we move back, we have the replacement test pipe that's going to be transferred from this setup to the new one. If we move our way back, you can see that we have a resonated new pipe here on the left. This is a Magnaflow catback. This here is the stock catback. So both setups have a resonator. If we move back a little bit more, you'll also see that, well, on the stock setup, it's one single pipe. On the new setup, it splits into a dual setup. So I have two mufflers with chrome tips on this side. I'm not gonna show you guys this yet, only because it's still in the package, but when I put it on the car and once I install it, it's gonna look sick. So I'm gonna be going from a single to a dual. Now, you're probably gonna be thinking, okay, well, what about the bumper? Well, luckily for my car, I already have the one cut out on the passenger side. This is where the stock exhaust tip was. On the driver's side, on the Accord Coupes, you guys will be able to see that there's a little cutout, and if you pop out the two little tabs underneath, one here and one here, you'll have your spot for that secondary exhaust. Now, another thing that I have to consider is going underneath the car and putting in the heat shield that we have on the opposite side. So if we come over here, you guys will see that we have a heat shield. Now, I did purchase a new heat shield along with all new Honda parts, like these hangers and the bolts, and these are all going in the car. So we have a new piece right here, the new heat shield, along with the hardware to install it. New bushings. I'm gonna lube all this stuff up before I put it in, and it's all gonna be super nice and OEM. If you guys wanna find links to that stuff, it's gonna be in the description box. But yeah, so I'm gonna start the camera back up once all of this is in the car. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is throw on new hardware whenever you're doing this. Whenever you're working in Canada or any kind of northern state that you're dealing with salt, new hardware is almost a must because you're gonna be grinding off all the old crap and then throwing new stuff on. So be sure to get this before you start this job. Okay guys, so good news, the install went really well. The RV6 downpipe went in, it was a breeze. I made that up to the test pipe, put the gasket in there, new hardware. Following that, I used the other gasket on the back side of it that connects it up to the catback. So this Magnaflow system was very easy to install. You don't need any special tools to put this in. The only thing that you do need though, if you guys have a 4-banger cord and you guys want to convert to the V6, you do need those Honda parts that I mentioned in the description box and earlier, but you also need 2 hangers welded onto the car. So the stock Accord has hangers on the passenger side only. There's nothing on the driver's side. So you do need to get something like that installed, probably at some shop or whatever. There's no mounting points, there's no bracket that you can just like bolt in. So unfortunately, this isn't exactly a direct bolt-on modification. But if you guys remember, my old Gretty setup was technically a V6 exhaust, but it was a single exit. So at that point, that is a direct bolt-on. You don't need anything else. But this video went well. Parts are good. Install went good. It doesn't sound horrible right now. I only have the passenger side muffler in. The driver's side one isn't in yet, but I do need to put that on. It doesn't sound horrible right now. I could probably get by for a couple days until the exhaust shops open up. The new driver's side muffler definitely needs to be put in. But I'll actually rev the car and show you guys what it sounds like. So now that I have all the new hardware installed on the car, I can go in the vehicle, put the car in the on position, and then with the K-tuner, I showed you guys how there's multiple different maps on here. So what I can do now is with the K-tuner is flash this to the new tune. So you go to flash, and then I set 2 different ones in here. So we have the factory base map, we have intake plus 91, this is stage 1, and this here is stage 2. So since I have an intake on the car along with a full exhaust system and 91 octane fuel, I can click that. Are you sure you want to flash? Yes. and then it's going to do its thing. Now it's going to go from 0 and go all the way to 100 with a progress bar. Once that's done, everything is complete. So you can take the car for a spin, see how it goes, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to notice a power difference between before and after. Now I know for a fact I am going to get a performance gain because I'm switching from a 54mm ID exhaust system to a 60mm. So with that being said, this will be able to flow more air and give me more power. Now when I did have my Greddy exhaust system, I noticed a power decrease when I switched from the Greddy to my stock catback. So I'm hoping I can revert that by switching to stage 2 along with putting that new Magnaflow system in the car. So I'm gonna let this do its thing, take this for a spin, and yeah, and that's that. That's all she wrote. Okay, so now with the exhaust system fitted up, it actually sounds not bad for a Honda 4-banger. Now think about what I said, for a Honda 4-banger. Most Honda 4-cylinders usually sound like rice rockets whenever you put any kind of exhaust system on it. Now this setup right here is going to not only give me a power increase, but it's actually, you know, it sounds good. I've got to say, it doesn't sound like a typical Honda. Let me show you what I mean. So I've got to say, it doesn't sound bad for a Honda. The lawnmower leak is gone. It sounds good. It's got a nice deep throaty sound. If you guys put this exhaust system on your V6 Accord, it's going to sound killer. But the Magnaflow exhaust system sounds really good. The install was a piece of cake. The K-tuner definitely gives you the most bang for buck for this mod. If you guys do not have a tuner, definitely consider getting one. It makes every kind of mod that you put on the car more enjoyable, and you can actually get more of a power gain from it. If you're running a stock tune with any kind of hardware modification, you're not really going to be getting the biggest bang for buck for it. So if you guys pair them together, you're going to get killer results. So I have the RV6 downpipe now matched up to the test pipe and the full Magnaflow exhaust system. Paired with the K-tuner, it's a killer combo. Now I am going to be modifying my Accord after I get the Mini running. This video here is only really tying me off until I can get the Mini out of the garage. So I'm working on that. That's my priority one, but this thing sounded horrible. It wasn't exactly a presentable exhaust system. Now with it fixed, it's quiet, it's toned down, you're gonna get a good power gain from it, and I can't complain with it. If you guys have any further questions regarding this video, comment section's down there. You guys know what to do. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.